Try to take advantage of this. Loda on the low ground does get netted in. Reverse polarity coming out of Hani. He's going to skewer him back into Era, and a crit instantly kills 3 heroes from the Tidehunter. Loda dies before he gets to do anything. Welcome back, everybody, to the proper camera, and of course, the continuation of today's Dreamhack Dota 2 Invitational, and this time, for the second cast, Dignitas versus Fnatic. I'm joined by a man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. James, are you with us?
No,
I know, that's why I wanted to do it. I wanted to put you on the spot. But of course,
I'm explaining to Dignitas what happens if things happen, which is really fucking dangerous, because it's like, hey guys, if this goes this way, you play this team, and if it goes this way, you play this team, and then they'll be thinking, which team do we want to play? But hopefully they, normally it's a really bad situation when you have like a group that's finished first, and then if you have a choice of being like second or third where you want to end up. And normally, like the way I solved it with some other stuff was you actually say whoever wins the game get to choose who they play in the other group. But that's actually a disadvantage for the other group because they didn't get to choose who they play. So anyway, I'm just making it really fucking confusing right now for Team Dignitas to know what the fuck's going on. So they won't even know what they want to do.
I was confused. Yeah. It's a good thing I'm not in the tournament.
Yeah, but like so don't tell them any more information. Just lie to them lots, right? Because that way they'll be like, well, let's just win. Surely that's the best for us, which it is. And of course, Fnatic, I'm just going to actually message, I'm going to log into Skype here.
It's a good plan.
Andy.
When you're being an admin, typically it's good to actually be logged on to your social media programs.
Yes. So currently I'm logging into Skype. I'm going to message Notel again to make sure he's on our way. Ready? Okay.
But yeah, of course, just a reminder to everybody, just so we're on the same page, the way it works when you have North American and...
Mike, what are you doing?
Oh, God.
Sorry.
Nothing. I'm just having a good time over here.
Oh. Mike's having a good time at our expense.
Was there an awkward silence?
Not really. I was going to talk about something, then you saw that Mike was laughing, and then you just immediately assumed that Mike had done
laughing
something.
At me.
Right,
He always laughs at me, Mike.
He's just that kind of guy.
He's an asshole.
We're watching you, Mike.
I wish he would leave the studio and go to Korea too. For those of you who don't know, Apollo is off to Korea to start a new job. And he hasn't even taken all his stuff because he's a dick. But he's going to, apparently some shipping company are going to come collect it and pack it up for him. Anyway, that's StarCraft 2. We're here for Dota 2. I'm joined by Draskell. Welcome to the Dreamhack Dota 2 online invitationals. It's Fnatic versus Dignitas. Situation is, Fnatic unfortunately turned up late. And then we gave a walkover to Dignitas. But then we were like, wait a minute. What was the communication? And we realized that we didn't tell them exactly that they were going to get walked over. So we were like, well, we can't do that. That's not very fair of us. So I said, sorry, Fnatic, but you can play the match, but it still will be a 1-0 advantage because even if you were, X minutes late, there would be a 1-map advantage. So Fnatic were like, oh, yeah, that's okay. We understand. And they said, thanks for apologizing. And I said, don't fucking be ever late again.
And then you give him a stare down like...
Over Skype. I purposely phoned them up, and I was like, turn on your webcam, I want to see your eyes. And then I stared at them. But either way, Dignitas, of course, have got a 1-0 advantage, which means they can take this in one game. Boring. But hopefully, we'll see if we can still get 2 maps out of this free mapper. And we're just waiting on Fnatic.
Yeah, they're actually completely MIA at the moment, which is like...
surprising.
Yes.
I'm not going to say anything towards it, but this is actually a good time to talk to the other people who are actually joining us for this cast once again. Bruno and Scriff, how are you guys?
We're doing great. Pretty much the same as we were 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
So nothing changed.
Nothing changed since 2 hours.
I played with the kittens.
Apart from motherfucking Bruno. Motherfucking Bruno played a prank on me, Draskell.
April Fools?
Look how evil he is.
What did you do?
I actually went to his computer and touched his custom.css, which is a file that changes what things look like in Chrome.
Oh.
So every single web page was 1 degree tilted to the right. And if you stay in a page for more than 1 minute, this text will start growing and growing and growing. It's like, holy shit, I have a virus.
No, I actually thought it was Twitter doing an April Fool's joke because it was only on the Twitter page. It wasn't on the others until I refreshed them, obviously. But yeah, so I thought Twitter had this really good April Fool's joke, but it was just Bruno locally changing files on my PC. He's a hoot around
You
the
do that
office.
on my PC as well.
He's available for Christmas parties and...
He definitely has the
parties.
costumes for it.
Something
Yeah.
wrong with this one as well.
Don't get on Bruno's bad side. At least if you're in a house full of gamers, because he will ruin your PC. And
You will
it's-
not be
it's
able to
bad.
play anymore.
Well,
Totally bad.
how hard is it to smash his back?
I mean,
Wow. Do you have to go there?
yeah, that's a
Really?
little bit too far, I think. Scriff's just like the one plotting for vengeance if anybody ever gets on his bad side. I'm watching both of you, by the way. Don't mess with my PC. But yeah, we're still waiting on Fnatic.
Yeah, well, they said that they're going into the last fight in a scrim, and then they're going to join. These
Okay.
kids.
Wow. Oh.
In a fucking...
So wait. Let me make sure we're on the same page. not only are we waiting on them, but we're waiting on them for not even an official match.
We could probably watch it. No, they're here now. No
Okay.
joins.
Okay.
We'll check how
So
that fight went.
let's be fair. It is
Ask if they
21:01,
won.
so we're 1 minute late. But that's okay because this
They
didn't
had
happen
15
the
minutes.
first
They
time.
could have stretched it out.
Yeah, they got some more time. Am I the only one who finds this a little ironic? Just a little
Oh,
bit.
dude, when Q-Pan... I don't like calling them Q-Pandas, all the commentators. When Q-Pad Red Pandas, or the Red Pandas,
Yes.
or whatever. I don't know how to brand them.
Yeah, they just their name changes.
Singing the Pandas. Sounds like a band. That would be a really
Jesse and the
shitty
Pussycats.
band. Yeah, when they were going into tournaments, I was like, right, you're turning up on time every fucking time. And they're like, yeah, it starts in 5 minutes. I'm like, well, get in the fucking lobby. I was like, these guys have asked you to play in their tournament. Get in the lobby. And Wagger was shocked.
I'm shocked right now.
And then I gave him the stare down.
It's powerful. You don't want to get hit by it. I actually wasn't even prepared for you to just make eye contact with me right there. Took me.
It's because some people don't know when I look at them slightly cross-eyed. But giving you the stare down, Andy.
It's understandable. It makes. You
Oh,
know
no,
what?
wait,
It's fine.
where are
This is
you? There you are. I found you. Locked on. Yeah, so we're going to be doing some Dota 2.
fine. Yeah, hopefully. We need one more person for Fnatic right now. No tail.
He's still
Eric,
finishing that
Trixie,
fight.
Subscribe.
Hani in the lobby. What?
Oh, I could sub. I was going to say sub, but since Mike's been banging on at me to mention subscribers for the show, I turned sub, as in I will sub for Fnatic, into subscribe.
Yeah,
so
I was
I might as well just lead into, hey
Yeah.
guys, if you want to subscribe, Bruno will wear more colourful shirts, and it supports the studio.
He
I
might
will
even
unbutton
unbutton
more
one
buttons.
more. Yeah.
Holy
For each 1,000 subscribers we
Yes.
hit, one more button will come off until
We-
eventually, no shirt.
We are very willing to whore out the members of the studio for a low payment of $4.99 a month.
How far we have fallen.
What's my cut?
Cool. Self-happiness, a sense of purpose in life.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of girls leave Argentina for new jobs elsewhere. They probably just tell their mums, their hairdressers and stuff, when really they're just whoring themselves out.
Yeah, I could
Why
be
should
one.
it be any different for you?
Pretty much.
I have fantastic news.
What?
The game has started.
Yes.
Oh,
Can
I'm
we-
going to be doing an analysis commentary today, as well as color commentary, and that's not racist. And Draskell's doing play-by-play. Here's Fnatic. There's Trixie. He's on the off lane, because no one really likes him that much. He's a bit of a weirdo. He's from Finland. Then you've got Notel playing support, slightly arrogant.
Danish,
Really good
right?
eyebrows as well, though, if you look at that. I've got to join the game, or it's disconnected. Hani will be
reconnect.
playing mid. He's pretty good looking, which is understandable because he doesn't play as good as the other members of Fnatic. The better looking you are, obviously, the worse you are if you know anything from Zhao 8. Fly, nothing to say about him. And Era, he's trying to give me the stare down, but it's not going to work. And he's the carry.
Your stare down is a little superior, I must admit. You have to click the reconnect. There we go. Just so the game
Thanks.
actually starts. We're still waiting
I
on
didn't
the
even know
next
that was
team.
come up, Mike. You caught me off guard there. Let's do the other team, Dignitas.
Yeah.
Of course, Dignitas, they've actually replaced, they've now got a permanent member. Snaking is back.
He's come back in for Tides of Time.
Yep, and he's pretty impressive snaking. He's only actually, I think, 16 or 17 years old. He played at Dreamhack, and he had some weird kind of... he was unstable, not mentally, but just in his game performances. Some really good games, some pretty lackluster games, but pretty impressive for a 16-year-old because he can grow a pretty epic moustache. And then he's got 4 other members that play with him that I don't know much about.
Well, I-2000 going to be playing as the carry role, of course, Fogged, their dedicated mid-player universe as the second newest addition. I guess if you want to count Sneaking as a new addition, even though he was on the team beforehand. He is obviously the support that we just talked about, and then Way2 is going to be playing their secondary support. But in this matchup, particularly, I feel as though people would favor Fnatic if it was a full best of 3. But when you come into it and you only have to win 1 game, I still feel as though Dignitas could very easily just take that 1 game and walk away with the win.
Yeah, I definitely think that it will change Fnatic a little bit in terms of how they're going to approach Game 1. It's going to be a little bit more stressful, but Fnatic are one of these teams that are just being so well in the competitive moment, in terms of the high-level, tense games. They've won DreamHack Heroes of Newerth plenty of times with some of their members. Don't smirk at me.
I can't help it, man. Whenever I look at you, it just brings a smile on my face. Is that such a bad thing?
Yes.
You lost your train of thought, didn't you?
No, I was just...
You never had one.
Really. Hey, let's go in-game.
There we go. Mike saves us. I think we were both just not expecting to come back to the camera, and we were expecting to talk about the game, and all of a sudden, we're on camera again, and we're inside the game.
Yeah, so Fnatic basically, even if they're 1 map down, are still a team that can perform really well. And they do want to win this. They want to come first in the group, Fnatic. We know they want to win 2 games in a row. They want to get that $1,000 for minimum 4th. And of course, there's 6,000 up for grabs in this tournament, and there's very minimal amount of games that you have to play. It really is... DreamHack have done a nice job. It's kind of designed that you only have to play a certain amount of games. There's not too much scheduling, conflicts. It's not like the TPL, like the Premier League. That's a piece of shit, that league. I mean, who the fuck would play in that? But that's not just because, we wanted to organize the finals of our tournament and there's some sort of 0-7 game which is insignificant and we asked them to move it or just delay it and they said no. That wouldn't be the case because that's just who knows what really happened there with TPL. But this is a really nice tournament. And, of course, even the game before was meant to be scheduled for yesterday. But we held it because there was the mixed finals. I mean, DreamHack just doing everything right. But let's talk about the bans and picks, Andy, because I know you're dying to have a crack.
All right, so Dignitas, of course, they're going to be first pick this game, and Dire. So they're going to ban out the Nyx. They're going to also ban out the Chen, which leaves a first pick Wisp, which has aptly been renamed to his Warcraft 3 name. And then Fnatic, they're going to go ahead and ban out a Keeper of the Light, a Puck, and they start things off with a CK, probably notably to take it away from Dignitas, and then a Bat Rider on top of it. So I would say Wisp has seen some play in the DreamHack Dota 2 Invitational, not necessarily a whole lot. Teams are more often nowadays going for different styles of aggression.
Can we refer to him as formerly known as Wisp, kind of like Prince?
I don't think it really has the same impact. I mean, you can. I won't stop you.
Okay, well, it's just kind of cool, isn't it? But yeah, so Darkseer, Team Dignitas really like playing Darkseer.
Yeah.
They're into the big kind of team fight compositions in terms of being able to just make shit happen all over the enemy's face in a big way.
Whenever it's on your face in a big way, that's good.
Yeah.
That's like the goal.
You can't handle that. But so do you reckon that CK pickup was from Fnatic just to stop that with CK combo? Because Era's really good at CK, but he plays it so good when he's got a Wisp with him. On Notel, I think, is who plays the Wisp.
The nice thing about CK, actually, against heroes like Gyrocopter, is it's the same ideology in picking heroes like Void, and you can isolate him very, very easily. And it almost forces the Gyrocopter to buy a BKB. So in this sense, taking the Wisp away from the CK is a nice thing, but they've also essentially picked a carry that, against heroes like CK and Bat in particular, your initiation isn't going to be what you're relying on for Dignitas. It's basically team fight, like you had said, counter initiation, but Gyrocopter can still be essentially bursted down with the kind of lineup that Fnatic is already getting right here. And once that CK gets 16, level 3 Phantasm, his physical damage output on a single target is far and away higher than what a Gyrocopter can do. And since Gyro needs so much farm in comparison to his CK, it makes things a little bit worse. And somebody is like clanking down the stairs right now, and of course...
Trance, we're in the middle of a show. Unless you bought a big bag of whiskey, you cannot come in and make all the... Oh, yeah, that's fine. Hand it over. Thank you.
Holy cow.
Ah, there we go.
Well, we have the overlay on still, so people can't actually.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Holy cow.
I deserve this.
He
Where's
does.
the other one? The bigger one. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Trans has just come back from Copenhagen Games, so we've said hi to him. Did you steal anything from the event?
No, wish I could.
Oh, okay. Security's too tight in Denmark.
Always a hidden
even
agenda.
for Romanian fingers. Okay, so let's get back into this. Welcome back, Trans, and we didn't even know you were gone because we've done such a great job, by the way. So Nature's Prophet picked up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can talk about the band as well, obviously what they're banning out, but where do you want to go on? You can lead this. I'll let you.
Okay, thank you, James. Well, Dignitas, I mean, they banned out the Lone Druid, they banned out Leshrac. They're clearly afraid of early game push potential, and when you already have a CK, it's also nice to ban out the heroes who have decent follow-up, and giving initiation to Fnatic in the form of things like Storm, when you already have two very ambiguous laners and Batrider and Nature's Prophet, they could have still potentially laned that, and it also gives you another hero that's pretty difficult for the Wisp to gank. In this case, Dignitas are going to be looking at something like a Gyrocopter and a Wisp to teleport around the map. If you gave them a Storm or a Lone Druid, those are two more heroes that actually take pretty much no damage or don't feel too scared in that regard, and plus it would give them much stronger early 5-man. So Dignitas, I feel, the Gyrocopter still needs a lot of farm here, whereas Fnatic, the CK gets up a drum, gets up treads, maybe an armlet, and he's good to go for pretty much all the way up until 25-30 minute mark, when then you start working your way towards a heart. And Nature's Prophet, at least in this particular tournament, has been seen as more of a hero that you sacrifice or put in the jungle, and then he's used as a semi-carry. I'm not sure if you had a chance to watch the games earlier.
Yeah, I did.
But,
Yeah, by the end of it, he was the carry.
Yeah, he was
pretty
critting
much.
for like 800, just instantly killed the gyro. So the physical damage from Fnatic is definitely going to be there. I feel like Dignitas right now, they lack disables. They need ways to disable the CK. A Jakiro is a good step in that direction. An Ice Path is definitely something more than they had previously, but I still feel as though once that CK gets up a couple of core items, the team fights for Dignitas are actually going to be pretty tough if they're not taken on their own terms.
Yeah, and one of the things we can mention about Fnatic and their playstyle, they are very well coordinated. So they're not going to wait for Dignitas to bring the fight to them in terms of the advantage, or obviously just kind of roll up to towers where Dignitas are in position. They're going to be performing as high as they can individually, as well as to just kind of pick apart Team Dignitas and not let them take those big team fights. And that's something that Fnatic have really brought into Dota 2, and what some of the other teams have said, just the reaction time and the coordination is really there for Fnatic. So Dignitas, yeah, still going, of course, for the large, overall team fight composition. Jakura, as you mentioned, really good for, just being able to some control, especially on the CK, if you're able to hit Ice Path. But what do you think Fnatic are going to want in their lineup to finish this out? Because it looks like two supports.
Yeah, they don't have a support at the moment. And normally this is something where you would see a Rubik is definitely a good choice. It's very nice to be able to steal things like Ice Path. You can steal Call Down, Vacuum. There are some pretty useful spells to get. But whenever you have a CK, you typically get another hero who has some kind of burst damage, because then if Dignitas were to run an aggressive tri-lane, then you would be able to easily pick off one of the supports. Now, because Dignitas pick a Wisp, it's much less likely that that's going to be the case, so it's not really too bad for Fnatic to pick up a Rubik, because if you know your lane's going to be defensive too, and you want your CK to farm for the first 10, 12 minutes of the game, that's fine.
But at the same time, are we looking at a potential Darkseer mid up against the Batrider?
Well, I don't think the Batrider is actually going to be mid just yet. It's actually kind of hard to say, because Fnatic are one of the teams that in the past, they've run the CK mid before with a secondary support. In this case, it could be Alina. And then they could put the Nature's Prophet in the jungle and then just safe lane the bat if they wanted to get him farmed. But Dignitas, they end things up with Tiny.
Yeah. About time.
Tiny is actually one of the harder carries that you're ever going to see.
And it's great versus CK.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get your Ags up, you can get a Yasha, if you can get that far into the game, which you should do in a professional kind of scene, you should be able to find the farm. But if they can keep the game going long enough, that Tiny can really become a problem. So that's an interesting pickup. And does that put a time limit on Fnatic really, or how does that last pick affect the match?
Well, yes and no. It depends on how well Trixie does, because in the pure carry versus carry sense, a Gyrocopter and a Tiny together typically are going to be able to outcarry a CK and a Prophet. But if the Prophet gets a really good start, he wants to go for the fast Midas, gets his farm up, he's kind of like the wild card for this game. So Trixie's impact on the early to mid game is really going to give the pace for Fnatic. And since they do have technically about the same split push as Dignitas, once Tiny gets up his ags, like you were saying, starts teleporting around the map, the tier 1s can just die because there's no backdoor protection whenever Fnatic want to take a fight. So it looks like it is going to be a bat mid, by the way.
By the way, did I not notice this at all? But why does it say that Cinder and Dota is standing in?
I don't know. I think that's a troll, because unless it's not, because I thought I saw everyone from Fnatic inside the lobby beforehand, but...
No, maybe it's Cinderin.
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
They're using silly names. Silly names.
Mike's popping up the
Era, Trixie.
the Steam thing.
No Tell is on. It could be. Yeah, it could be.
It is. It is actually Cinderin. Okay, I thought I was being trolled, but I guess not.
Hello, Cinderin.
So it is going to be the stand-in for today, and he's going to be playing on the Rubik. Might as well go over the rest of the lineup of Fnatic, because it looks like they're going to try to do some small creep pulling. But No Tail is going to be playing on that Lena. We already talked about Cinderin, who's going to be playing on the Rubik. CK, of course, being played by the one and only Era. Trixie going to be playing that off-lane Prophet. And then finally, we're going to have Hani, who is safe laning on the bat. So it looks like I actually was right. I just didn't think that they were going to send the bat mid. Top is understandable. Bottom is a little bit safer, just because you know you want him to get a blink pretty much as fast as humanly possible. And pretty much no matter what Dignitas send mid in terms of a dual lane, a CK and a Lena is going to beat any dual lane that Dignitas can possibly put mid.
All right, so you favor mid lane for Fnatic. You're quite happy with the Bat Rider on the safe lane. I mean, what do you make for Dignitas?
Well, it's pretty clear defensive tri-lane coming out from Dignitas. The one weakness I feel like their lineup has is their roaming isn't going to be that strong. I mean, they have a Wisp and a Jakiro. That's not necessarily the best roaming combo in the world. So middle lane on the side of Fnatic going to be pretty much not pressured at all. It all depends on if sneaking can actually prevent himself from getting picked off in a situation. The two supports from the side of Fnatic are going to be quite easy to rotate over whenever they want. Trixie can TP in. No Tail can just walk to the lane, get a double stun. The burst damage they have is more than enough once that hero gets level 2 to 3 to secure a kill very, very quickly. And Jakiro has made his way over to mid. He realizes there's no point in putting just 3 heroes top against nobody. So they're going to be giving a lot of the early farm and experience to Wisp. So he's going to get the solo experience for that pull there. And that's definitely what you should do. Like you want your Wisp and whatever hero you're going to be teleporting around with to get the majority of levels in the early game.
Yeah, and that Wisp can definitely get the levels pretty quickly, as you mentioned, because he's solo. Also, No Tell has cleared out some of the trees with either himself or help of Cinderin, and he's actually going to be pulling the mid lane there as well. So, what's going on? Let's see Trixie now. Yeah, sorry, it was Trixie playing the Furion. But in terms of early game, what are Fnatic what are they looking to achieve?
Well, Fnatic do want to apply some pressure. Right now, the goal is to get Hani the fastest Blink Dagger possible, which he's definitely going to get. If they want to push, they can definitely do that, which is, it looks like they are trying to. They already have 2 range creeps, so there was a single pull done here at the very least. And with the Nature's Prophet, if they want to get a faster blink, then getting the tower is going to get him the blink just that much quicker. And plus, it opens up more space, forces somebody to eventually go down there, which at this point seems to be way too. But the early game for Fnatic going to be stable. Wait until you get your core items up on the bat, use CK during the mid game, and just go for non-stop kills.
Era going on snaking in middle. No Tell. Gonna hit a stun, just about. Trixie's gonna come in, no Sprout though. And Universe there just in time to surge snaking away. So he's gonna get away with his life, and he's having a hard time middle. You can see that 3 and 1 on the creep score. Era doing a little bit better, but not by much, just 5 and 4. But now he's got the lane to himself. Snaking is gonna be able to salve up and make his way back. Nice use of the walking courier so far. And not gonna lose too much from that at all. So close encounter. And that really could have sent the game in Fnatic's direction pretty early.
Well, I do favor the lanes for Fnatic for the sole reason that we talked about during the draft. The Gyrocopter needs a lot of farm. He needs a BKB this game, pretty much, just because in the mid game, a Laguna Blade, a CK stun, and that hero is just dead. There's not really anything you can do about it. So if they want to focus him out, they can easily do that. And he's not getting any farm out of the lane right now. He's 4 and 2. And it's 3 minutes in, and the CK's, he's not getting perfect farm, but he's still getting a heck of a lot more. And you know that Fnatic are going to be rushing the mid game pretty much as hard as they can. So Aoi and Fogged going to have to make a lot of space here once those heroes respectively hit their level 6 and want to start teleporting around. But on the flip side, Fnatic also have global presence of their own. They can teleport Trixie mid if there's any action there, or they want to try to dive him, or they could just very, very quickly push in the bottom tier 1, get Hani as Blink, and continue their game from there.
Yeah, and speaking of levels, actually, Wisp is currently doing the best on the support, almost level 4, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Here, going to go on to Snaking, and Way Too Sexy is actually going to hit a nice Ice Path and stop No-Tail from coming into stun. But that Wisp is going to hit level 4 pretty soon. I think Synderen is a little bit behind him. But are they going to... Is it to make something happen at level 6 when you've got that Wisp there with the Tiny, or is it just safer for Tiny to sit in this free lane, farm the free, you know, the lane that's free, and then just join with some of the tower defenses? I mean, what really are they going to be looking to do with the Wisp Tiny combo?
Dignitas are probably going to feel a lot more confident in just defending towers for a while. If you see a kill, obviously go for it. Speaking of middle lane, Sneaking going to be in some trouble. 3-second Chaos Bolt. Trixie teleports in as well. There's the Sprout. He actually manages to tango out and body blocks Era. And he's going to be able to get away. That Sprout, man, a little bit questionable right there.
And Fog came in on the Wisp, and they're actually going to get Snaking. He's living life on the edge.
Yeah.
Seriously, he's 16. He's gone to a liquor shop. He's got fake ID, and he just got away with it twice. He's having the time of his life today.
Well, he's going to be pretty happy with it. He probably should have been dead already twice. And bottom lane, in the meantime, Hani and Synderen both able to pressure this tier 1. Actually forces Universe back, who is level 5, so level 3 Ion Shell should be more than enough to at least force them a little bit back at the moment.
I'm not sure about this decision by Fnatic. They're actually just trying to dive and get the last hit on the tower, and they will do so. The Batrider gets it, but it's going to cost to the life of Synderen. But he's a stand-in, so they don't really care.
First blood goes the way of Dignitas, so pretty much all the gold that they had just gotten from that tower, much of it paid back already. And Hani, he's still 500 away from his blink. I don't think they're going to be able to get him. He did opt to buy boots, so he's not going for the ultra-fast blink, as he also managed to pick up a Bassie. So it was an okay trade, honestly, for Dignitas, getting the first blood up on the Wisp. A little bit of extra experience. Try to get into 6 as soon as you can, just so when things like that happen, you can react without having to walk all the way across the map. That's one of the big benefits of having a Wisp. And Nature's Prophet is the same, but he can't take anybody with him unless you have a Lifestealer.
Yeah, but at the same time, how do you favor that for Dignitas? I mean, obviously, you've almost got Hani with his blink. Just had a stun middle, so just checking back there. But, you know, how fast has he won that blink? Or when does he want to start utilizing this?
About the fastest blink you can get is roughly 6 minutes, but that's like a completely naked blink. He'll probably have his at probably the 7 or 8 minute mark, but telekinesis on the way too. Fortunately, that doesn't work anymore, so Synderen's still going to be able to secure the invis. I really just think, actually, hold on, Era going to be in some trouble. Spirit's coming out, Sneaking, trying to run. He's getting a little bit blocked. Very nice Light Striker coming out of No-Tail, buys him some time. And it looks like he might be able to get back to the tower, but No-Tail might be in some trouble himself. Invis Synderen comes out with the Fable. No telekinesis, though, and No-Tail ends up dying to the battery assault. Era quite low as well. Eats a dual breath. Very nice 3-man telekinesis stun right there. Synderen trying to run past the tower. Dignitas coming in strong, though. The Ion Shell damage coming out on Synderen, and the Spirits by Fog secure the kill. Teleport in from No-Tail. This could be a little bit of a mistake. There's an Ice Path. This is pretty much just going to be a free kill. Trixie comes in to try to throw out the Sprout, but Fnatic just getting a little bit caught out there, coming in one at a time. Give Dignitas 3 kills in the process.
Yeah, and you got to look at Fog in that whole fight. Like, he's been able to tether up. He also had a bottle. So even though Snaking was hurt, the amount of regen he was able to kind of give just kept Snaking in the fight, and they were able to just kind of, once you get the first kill and you're there with 4 people, you just start steamrolling through. Era's here to try and defend. Goes on Way Too Sexy. Gets a rocket for his troubles.
Nice
and
deny.
there's actually going to be a deny in favor of Dignitas. Now, there is the Blink Dagger up on the Batrider, but he doesn't have the mana for the Flaming Lasso afterwards.
He Chaos Bolted a creep. Fog trying to run away. 4-second Chaos Bolt on the range creep. Fog still will die. But man, Fnatic, not usually seen playing like this, I have to admit.
Yeah. And that creep is like, why are you mad? And then he said, bro.
It happens.
As he got bolted. Great trades so far for Dignitas.
Definitely.
Fnatic, you know, it's you don't say anything about the stand-in because you know Synderen knows what he's doing. You know, Trixie was in that fight. Definitely was a little unfortunate. It was quite low on mana and health even when I think the fight started. But generally, then just don't seem completely all on the same page when that fight kicked off. And normally you see an instant reaction from the whole team and they make something. They make some kills, and it's quite surprising that they only managed to pick off the Wisp. Many times that the Jakiro was in a few situations Way Too Sexy where it looked like he could be a target as well.
Well, they could have easily gotten 2 there because the Chaos Bolt on the creep hurt them a lot, not just because it allowed Fog to get a little bit farther away before he died, but if you Chaos Bolt, you get a 4-second, you don't even have to hit that hero. You know your supports will clean it up. You can Reality Rift somebody else and potentially clean up another kill. So that stun actually hurt them a little bit more, because when you have a team who commits 4 or 5 heroes at less than 8 minutes into the game to pushing a tower, yeah, you denied it, but you didn't really pay anything back necessarily. Getting a Wisp kill who is already doing quite well for himself. He's very close to 6 too.
Yeah, if we go top lane, actually that creep camp there, half of that was already killed just moments ago. So this is going to be Fog's level 6. Aoi he doesn't need to be in a fight right now. They're just sending him telegrams of how they're just winning fantastically in the war and it's going great and they come see him soon, which they are now. And once that level 6 is up, they might be able to start getting a little bit aggressive. And of course, Aoi has also picked up his point booster. So he's doing really well on the farm, 67 last hits currently. And of course, some of those were going to be creeps, but with the strong creep camp, it's more than welcome to add to his tally of creep kills. Where do Fnatic go now? I mean, they've got their Blink Dagger on the Batrider of Hani. Where do they go?
They basically need to rely on Dignitas to get caught out in the same way that they got caught out in the river. But the problem really now lies in that the Wisp is 6, so he never has to leave Aoi's side.
Yeah,
he can
like
stay
even
there
now
forever.
when Hani goes in, he just realised on bot lane he jumps into way too sexy, and there can still be a Wisp TP, which there is. And Hani's like, haha, you fools.
They actually
back.
TP'd on the wrong side, so a little
Yeah.
bit unfortunate. And honestly, that's an ideal situation for Fnatic.
Yeah,
Get
it
the
is.
Wisp TP down
It
for
is.
another 80 seconds.
Gives him a lot of room.
Yeah, and then you
At
can
least for that
potentially
time.
go for another kill. So
Yeah, but of course Dignitas are going to be quite passive in these moments.
I'm just really concerned because Fnatic's early game is supposed to be what's essentially carrying them. Hani had an incredibly fast blink. He's still farming well. I mean, 52 and 8, but Aoi's sitting at 77 creep kills, and it's not even 10 minutes into the game. And they're going to get the tier 1 top. There's no contention coming out from the side of Fnatic. The question is, can they actually go on these heroes? Because ideally, when you're playing against a Wisp and you've already lost a couple of early game fights, you want to engage on them, because then you know at the very least they're not going to be able to teleport into you when you're trying to kill somewhere else. So I'm not sure if Fnatic's early game is going necessarily how they planned. It's not to say that they can't come back, but now they're going to be relying a lot more on Era to be able to just carry these fights. And he's not really over-leveled. He's not necessarily over-farmed either. His farm's okay.
And if we just check bot lane, by the way, Cinderon's trying to be all stealthy ninja,
Yeah.
but there is actually a ward there for Team Dignitas. So they're very aware in this lane there's not just the Batrider. Cinderon is hanging around, and there's a big possibility that Wisp tiny combo is going to take full advantage of that as it is back up now. And here they come.
Oh, Hani's going to be able to
Hello,
blink away.
Cinderon.
Cinderon not so lucky,
No.
though. He is a very, very sad Rubik, and that's
He
going to
was
be...
safe for 80 seconds,
Yeah.
which was fantastic. But, you know,
Well, the rich get a little bit richer in this case. Dignitas now leading Fnatic 5-1. It's 11 minutes in. Not necessarily the most action-packed game so far, but it's okay for Dignitas to not even play aggressive. We were talking about at the beginning, if they wanted to sit back and farm and just try not to die and defend towers, that was fully within the realm of possibility for them. But they actually have gotten the better of the early game, and middle lane, we're going to see some more TP reaction as Era is going to be able to get a kill on Fog. It looks
Nice.
like Wisp will eventually die. Universe, though, picks off CK, so, and that 1 versus 1 trade, Dignitas going to be happy with that. No Tail continuing to be chased down by Universe as he decides to turn around. Light Strike Array is up, and No Tail is actually level 6, so he has Laguna if they want to try to use it. But they even have a ward in the high ground, so they can see everything coming right now.
yeah, and unfortunately in that fight, Trixie on the Nature's Prophet, he's got his Midas up, doesn't have much mana, he can't even do a teleport in and then sprout, so he couldn't join the fight despite some of the supports way too sexy maybe could have been picked up there. So Fnatic and Dignitas just make a 1-1 trade, but at least Era got a kill.
Yeah, 1 for 1, it's not horrible for Fnatic, but you're getting one of the most important heroes off the map, and that's CK. He's the one who is being pretty heavily relied upon. He actually looks like he's rushing straight for a BKB, picks up the Ogre Club, which is one of the only options he really has left. If you look at Dignitas, for the early game, most of the damage that they have is comprised solely of magic. I mean, you have Avalanche Toss, you got Jakiro, Wisp, Darkseer, Gyro, all magic damage. So he pretty much needs a BKB. If the start was better, maybe he could have gone for the drums, have a little bit more durability, and take fights that way. But now it's like, I have to go purely defensive, or I just won't be able to stand for my team.
Yeah, and Yeah. And yeah, as Trixie tries to farm away bottom, we've also got that TP up again on Wisp and Owie, and they really can just go in and...
Tiny tree with the tree.
Yeah.
That's funny. Wisp teleport, actually. Going to be going to
Here it
top
comes.
lane. They're going to spot Era. Can they actually get him? Very nice avalanche, just hit right on the edge.
That's
Cancels the
unfortunate.
animation, and he gets tether stun. Only a 2-second chaos bolt. Is it going to be able to get Era away? I think not, as the rest of Dignitas come in from the river, and the Wisp, unfortunately, not going to get too much experience, but CK dies again nonetheless.
Yeah, this really becomes a problem, and Trixie is where he's playing against the Wisp Tiny now, in just okay, I'm just going to try and race. As far as Trixie on his Fury, is that the right thing to do in this situation?
Well, if you think about it,
can you outrace?
what necessarily can Trixie add to the team fights? If he
Hex.
had something like an early mech, maybe that would help a bit. But honestly, Fnatic are really far behind right now. They're getting out-farmed. The Darkseer and the Tiny are both farming incredibly well. They're forced to smoke up here. There's another ward in the lane too, so they even saw this. So the first time, if it hadn't become apparent, actually Way2 is going to get caught out by a lasso with the Blink Dagger. They're going to be able to pick off Shakiro. And TP reaction coming in from Owie, but I'm not sure if it's going to do much.
They will most likely not chase off this. Actually, just Fog's going to get him some vision. Trixie's going to bail. But that's what Fnatic need. They've not only got a kill, they pulled most of the team to this top lane now. So Dignitas actually going to smoke up, maybe look to make something happen, or at least get that bottom tower. Meanwhile, Trixie's been able to get some farm on the top lane. So it's really, are they going to have the reactions, Fnatic,
Cinderin.
to get out of this? And, well, not Cinderin, at least.
Definitely not. And the nice thing about the smoke, too, is that since Aghanims is done, it's such an early phase, they can kill this tier 1. I mean, Owie's damage, just look at how hard he hits his tower. They force an immediate glyph, and Rubik's dead, so there's pretty much no way Fnatic can actually do anything about this. But they teleport the gyro mid, trying to counter push as much as they can. Hani's going to be able to catch out Sneaking, though, looking for a lasso here, but he actually doesn't have it, so Sneaking taking quite a bit of damage. Era gets the Chaos Bolt off, gets a Reality Rift. Here comes Owie and Fog, though, with a teleport. The call down damage hits Era pretty hard. Force pop the Phantasm, gets vacuumed back, and will eventually go down to Owie, as Hani's going to be able to use his Firefly to get to the high ground. And they get the tier 1, and Dignitas defend their own tier 1.
Yeah, it's... I mean, I want to ask, like, where you think this is going to go, but I don't want, you know, to be upset, basically, Draskell.
I can see it in your eyes right now. You are genuinely upset at the situation.
Well, no, not really. But if Dignitas do win, of course, this will mean it's only a one game.
Oh, really nice tether stun. Actually goes to Owie and stuns Hani in the process. So Fogged, able to get away from a very near-death experience. But yeah, the thing is, if Fnatic have picked a team that kind of have to win their lanes, when you put 2 heroes mid, you want to ideally kill Sneaking. There were 2 or 3 times where Sneaking should have potentially been dead, but he didn't actually die at all. So you have 2
No,
heroes.
he didn't even die a little bit, Andy. I know
Yeah.
what you're saying, yeah.
Not even a little bit.
Not even all, not even a little bit.
Yeah. So you commit that much to one lane. You don't necessarily get the most out of it. Trixie came in with a Sprout that actually saved him once. So everything's just kind of going well for Dignitas at the moment.
Well, Trixie has now got his Claymore. So he's opting for that Shadow Blade. Fnatic going to play the split push card against a Wisp Tiny?
It's hard, but I mean, that's what else
what
are they
they
going to
got,
do?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if he wants to go for a mech, sure, you can do that because he's probably the only mech carrier.
Here
And
comes the TP.
yeah, they're going to be able to catch out Trixie here, but there is a CK nearby with Alina. But yeah, Trixie just dies unbelievably fast. Looks like he doesn't even want to try to fight this. Fog is going to be teleporting out in just a second. Will he be able to make it in time? He does not, as CK ultimately gets a kill. Lasso up onto Owie. Ice Path going to be way off the mark from Way2. Mech is popped, though. Universe is now here.
Oh, nice.
Double wall. It gets stolen, but it's going to be enough to actually take down Owie.
Twatting on Owie.
Tree beating on Tree. He's actually going to go down
Boom.
here. Gets pulled back into the wall once again as Hani manages to get the kill. Way2 with a double Dragon's Breath. Now trying to run away, but he has 3 stacks of Napalm. Era should be able to catch him here. Oh, one more auto attack will do the job. And Sneaking's call down, not necessarily on point, but it should be enough. Owie buys back into the game, teleports mid, trying to catch out Era, and he gets vacuumed in. This is going to be a very, very dead CK here in just a second. Gyrocopter's rocket is chasing him down. Tries to Reality Rift to a creep, but doesn't really bring him too far. And Era is killed as well.
Yeah, you know, Fnatic, they found Dignitas' weakness. You just, you know, how do you counter a Tiny? You just make an illusion of a Tiny.
Yeah.
It killed Tiny, the big bad illusion, but yeah, Dignitas, pretty much all the team got involved, and then Fnatic melted over time. So still a big win for Dignitas, and they're just going to head into Roche. So, I don't know, Trixie, you need to put some pressure on the lanes and control the map a little bit for his team. And if you look at Hani on the Batrider, he's picked up absolutely no items almost. You can pretty much say, apart from a bottle after his Blink Dagger, which was how many minutes ago? As
Close to
Roche
10.
goes down?
Close to 10 minutes, yeah.
So, where is this going?
Well, it's expected that the Batrider's farm would fall off a little, but you want to compensate for that by just having initiation and being able to pick off Dignitas when they're out of position.
But if you look at the Batrider assists, he's got 4 right now.
Yeah, well, they only have 7 kills.
Yeah, so it's sure he's been in the fights, but certainly the whole of Fnatic as a force is easily reckoned with if you're Team Dignitas. But Fnatic are going towards the top lane. Currently, Way Too Sexy is there. There's going to be a TP on Synderen. Synderen's actually bait. He's like, guys, I'm just going to die in peculiar places, and then you're going to be able to kill other people, which they do. Fnatic pick up Way Too Sexy. So they traded Synderen for Way Too Sexy. I think they'd be happy with that.
It's an okay trade. I mean, a support for a support, not really a make or break for either team. But Aoi has an Aegis now, and he's close to 14, which means max rank of Craggy Exterior, which is unbelievably frustrating for heroes like CK. And not only CK, but if you ever happen to be close enough to where it can actually proc, you get stunned before the animation of your auto attack even goes off. So you can randomly get stunned out, and it can be really, really annoying. So Aoi opting for the crit. He just wants to go pure damage. That's a little bit strange, actually, to go for a straight crit. Normally he likes to go for a Manta or just something with a little bit more mobility. But as it stands right now, Fnatic, I mean, they're really hurting and being able to play aggressive right now. You can see all the wards are pretty much defensive. They have a couple around Roshan, and then, of course, they have a couple near mid. But that doesn't really do a whole lot when you're playing against a Wisp and a Tiny, because they don't have to necessarily be anywhere that's visible on the map outside of their jungle and leave the other places for other members of Dignitas to farm.
Yeah, and the team fight's just going to be a stomp in terms of in Dignitas' favor. They've got a mech as well on the Darkseer, so played by Universe. So Fnatic can't even, I feel, sit under a tier 2 tower and actually take a team fight and be successful. It feels like they need to get these pickoffs, but they're just so dangerous. So I'm kind of like confused to what their options are. And Fnatic are one of these teams that will always play any situation and play them out the best they can. But where do you think they're going to take this? And here we go. They're actually going to jump on Aoi 2000 up here with the Batrider, and they're going to try and burst him down. Notel is actually going to be able to remove the Aegis with Laguna. Trixie also gets a kill on the Wisp. Can they do anything else in this situation? They've got Toss. Why not?
He's got napalm stacks on. This actually could be troublesome for Aoi. The TP reaction from Dignitas is so unbelievably late. Way Too is finally going to TP, but Aoi's going to die twice.
I'm impressed that they... I mean, you called it earlier, like, if you're going to go kill the Tiny and Wisp, you have to, you're going to take a team fight, you want to pick off them, because then you can guarantee at least they are, alone. Right. Alone together, you could say. But were they too far out? Were they too optimistic on how far they could be with their Aegis?
Overconfidence, for sure.
Because Fnatic just got, that's just an absolutely huge win. Like, before that happened, I would have said Fnatic might just be out of this game.
Yeah.
They take that fight. They shut down Dignitas, Carry, and Wisp once and take away the Aegis. Now everything seems very scary for Dignitas. Sure, they still might have the advantage, but if you look at their supports on Dignitas, similar to the supports on Fnatic, there's not too much difference in terms of pick-off power. I know that Gyro, not a support, but he is going for that Shadow Blade and has managed to finish it, so he has some good survivability. But how much does that sway the game for Fnatic to come back?
Well, getting that pick off in particular, the 2 heroes that they did, is pretty huge. Getting Aoi off the map in general is always going to be nice, but you just took away almost a free teamfight win at a tier 2 in favor of Dignitas by getting that Aegis off. And not only that, but Dignitas' reaction was non-existent. It took a long time for those heroes to get killed twice.
They probably just thought Fnatic were joking.
Yeah, it's like, nah, it's April Fool's, man. We're just messing with you.
They've just picked up Aoi for a laugh right now, just to annoy him. A psychological victory, and then there was really no TP rotation. It wasn't until the Aegis dropped, and then halfway running back to the tower did anybody from Dignitas turn up, and I think it was the Chikura Way Too Sexy. So Fnatic, we'll see where they can take this game. Any kind of concerns for Dignitas? Obviously, we still give them the advantage overall. Aoi's still standing really strong. You can see that he's actually going for his Daedalus. But what does Dignitas really have to worry about?
They're still okay, and it's important to keep in mind that not only were those picks important for Fnatic, middle lane. Sneaking, gonna get caught out by the smoke. That's a very dead gyrocopter. That teleport in, coming in of Aoi and Fog. Lightstriker is actually going to be a little bit off the mark. The Flame Break knocked him out of it. Trixie going to get spotted out here, for at least for the time being. Universe coming in as well. Pops the mech. Nice 4-man vacuum. The Lightstriker Ray, though, going to get a double stun. Way too manages to land the Ice Path onto Era. Era and Hani both trying to retreat. BKB just finished on Era in time to be able to teleport out. Telekinesis stun coming out of Synderen, and he manages to steal Macro Pyre. So, everything said and done, that could have went a lot worse for Fnatic. The BKB timing that Era had, which is something that I wanted to bring up actually before that fight, him finishing that, Trixie's farm is starting to get a little bit out of hand. The only downside is that now Dignitas are sitting at a tier 2 and Fnatic don't have Lasso, so if they want to try to push this, they could potentially pressure the tier 2 enough to kill, or I guess they're going to decide to back off instead.
I think Dignitas have made the right choice in terms of not going for that fight, being able to get a little bit more farm. I mean, obviously the BKB's down on Era, but they did lose the gyro for a lot of the damage, and you can see that Lasso is up pretty quickly. It's almost off cooldown now, so the attention maybe turns to the top tower, and this looks like Fnatic could make something happen. Snaking, I don't know if they had dust last time. I don't think they did. I was just checking Trixie. No, they didn't, but they're just going for this tower. And this is, I believe that Wisp TP is down, so that's... Nope, it's not down.
Definitely not down. Trixie going to be in some trouble.
Yeah, tried to sprout himself, unable to do so. No Tell, probably not going to be able to survive this fight. They can get Hani out of here, they'll be happy. But I'm not sure he's going to be able to either.
And Arrow just kind of casually walks in. He does still have BKB. Taking quite a bit of damage from the Rocket Barrage, though, will be able to sidestep the call down. Pops Phantasm, buyback on Batrider, teleporting to tier 2. They want to try to fight this. Aoi taking quite a bit of damage. Synderen has a BD, is actually going to fall. And they manage to turn it around. Trixie also picks off way too in the back. 4-second Chaos Bolt on to Sneaking. And like I was saying, if you want to come back into the game, you pretty much have to catch them out of position and outplay them, which is pretty much what Fnatic just did right there.
Yeah, I was very surprised. That, I mean, was Trixie's plan to bait? I mean, he took so much damage, BKB, turned around, there were buybacks, and then they took the fight. And getting another kill on Aoi, who doesn't obviously have enough gold, I believe, for buyback. Unable to rejoin the fight, and probably doesn't want to anyway, have his team dead. But Fnatic get the initial kill, Dignitas come back, get a whole host of kills, and then Fnatic buy back and make something happen. Is that how it should have gone down?
Well, the big thing for me is I kind of have to question Aoi's item choice. I mean, he went for an Ags, really standard. Like, going Treads, Ags, pretty much as standard as you can get.
Daedalus.
But then he made a Daedalus. There's still a Batrider, there's still a CK, a lot of magic damage on the side of Fnatic that you have to worry about. And if he had a BKB when he had the Aegis up, he would have had enough money because he already had the Crystallis and the recipe for the Daedalus anyway. So if he had magic immunity, who's to say that he wouldn't have had time for the rest of his team to come help him out, or he wouldn't have just been able to get a kill himself. So in these fights, if they want to focus him and kill him, they can do that.
Yeah, they've proven it now, I believe, twice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that item choice, sure, it looks good. Not as good as a rapier.
Not as
he
good.
TPs
Teleport. Oh,
onto
Synderen. Actually gets telekinesis pretty much immediately. Very nice reaction of the Synderen, but I don't think it's ultimately going to save him. Pedersen's going to be there, or maybe it will save him. As Fog gets picked off, Aoi is not going to be going back to base. His teleport
871 crit.
is
no
going to be
tail.
down.
Man up. No tail, you just manned up.
That damage. No tail. A little bit scared that he manned up. Shadow Blade auto attack going to be enough to get the kill. Era now currently on full retreat along with Hani as he blinks away. But they're not done. Very nice Ice Path coming out of way too. Calldown is going to be there. Catches Trixie in the back. Era forced to pop the BKB. Turnaround Chaos Bolt. Can Era actually get away from this? It's going to be close. Aoi wants to go for the toss. Can he actually get anyone in range? Flamebreak splits them up for the time being. And the second Ice Path going to be a little bit off the mark. So
a Wisp pick off. Lost No Tail, and also Synderen early, obviously. He was ganked. But it's once again showing that they are close and they can almost take down, or can take down Aoi, but almost took him down in that situation. It was nice of the rotations of Dignitas to be able to back that fight up. And Fnatic fight on, and it's, you know, I'm really impressed how far ahead Dignitas have got in this game. They've played it really, really well. And that's great to see, as well as they've taken Snaking in as their permanent member now. But that item choices you mentioned as well, yeah, definitely BKB could have been more optimal.
I mean, even something like a Manta, I think, would have been better. Just for the extra mobility, just to be able to juke a little bit more. And Trixie going to get caught out here in the bottom lane. I think he might be able to teleport away, unless there's an... Oh, no. Really nice timing, actually, as he's going to get dropped. Gets tether stun, gets tossed. I figured he might be able to get out, but Aoi, of course, does have that Quelling Blade, so there's just simply no way.
And, yeah. Fnatic's wards very kind of centered around mid and also bot lane towards their jungle. But there is some nice vision as well. Just on the top lane, that ward's going to actually wear off for Dignitas. So, what's the game plan? Where do you see Dignitas wanting to take this? Are they going to wait for a Roche, put it on Tiny, make sure he gets another heavy item? He's actually picked up his Ogre Club, so he's potentially going, or is going for the BKB.
Yeah, pretty much.
But once he gets that, is it just we fight, we win, or is it we wait for, we just take Roche, because Roche is now up?
If Aoi and Gyrocopter both get a BKB, I think their team fight's going to be a little bit too much to handle for Fnatic. We talked about during the draft how Fnatic is more built around pick and push or split push than anything else. So in 5 versus 5 engagements around the Roshan pit, I have to favor Dignitas. Now, that's not to say that Fnatic can't outplay them, because they've done it before in this game already. So if you manage to catch them out even a little bit, then they could potentially make something happen. But once those two heroes are magic immune, the damage output on the side of Dignitas is going to be far and away higher than what Fnatic have. So, especially with things like Craggy Exterior and Aoi just getting more and more farm as time goes on, he's still the highest net worth in the game, now getting a second Aegis, and his BKB is likely to be done before the next fight. That's an ideal situation for Dignitas. They wanted Roshan for sure, and if they can wait it out a little bit longer for those heroes, especially to reach their peak, then they're going to be in pretty good shape.
Well, looks like Hanny was wanting to go potentially on snaking at the top lane. Era's been spotted by snaking while he's shadow bladed. And the Fnatic are just going to have to leave. But are they going to be able to get out? Snaking on Era.
BKB TP, there's pretty much nothing they can do about this. If they had Tiny there, they could have actually stopped it, but he was not close enough, so it's a good situation that Fnatic managed to get out of there without losing anything. They were trying to abuse split pushing as hard as they could, but the thing is with Aoi's build is that they actually killed Roshan a lot faster than if he had a BKB, so they were able to react, and Universe now picking up his Shivas, which is really, really nice. We haven't talked much about him, to be honest. He's 4-1 and 7. He's got the mech, got the Shivas. He's been pretty quiet this game, but at the same time, he's still farming very, very well, and he's just been overall consistent throughout the game.
And he was still a good early game. Obviously, he sacked his lane for a bit and just went jungle to get some levels, but he was actually the the guy that came in and helped mid. He surged. I can't remember, the name of who was playing mid off the top of my head. Snaking, yeah. But Universe actually got him out of some sticky situations, we can call it, and denying actually Fnatic a chance at first blood. So Trixie's going to pick up. Now, that Sheep Stick could be a very turning item if it was a little bit earlier. I do believe that BKB should be on its way now, and I'm just going to check. Yeah, that's Aoi 2000's BKB. So unfortunately, that Sheep Stick is going to be awkwardly timed. And of course, there's not many options to use it on. There's of course a 10-second BKB also on snaking. So this fight could decide if Fnatic are going to be dropping out of this match 0-2. So we'll find out.
This is perfect timing for Dignitas. Like you said, 2 10-second BKBs and an Aegis. This is pretty much the strongest push that Dignitas can put together for at least until the next Roshan. So this is their time, basically, to shine. And the Hex can still be useful if they get it off before the BKB. If Trixie's able to get into a position to Hex somebody like sneaking, obviously you don't want to go for Aoi here unless you can pull him really far out of position. They're just going to sack the tier 2 anyway, but that's pretty much the only option. 1,300 crits coming out of Aoi right now. That is scary.
Yeah, they could maybe pull him now. I'm surprised. Maybe it was. I'm surprised they didn't want to attempt to put him there. Just checking Hanny. He does have his 4 staff. He's also got a Yule Scepter and Gem, but they wanted nothing of the sorts. Do you not think it would have been possible to grab Aoi just...
It's a risk, and for Fnatic right now, I don't think risk is something that they can afford to take, at least in that situation. Because if you take that fight and you lose outside of your base, then you lose your racks for sure, because you had already popped the glyph. So if you see an opening and you want to try to go for it, you would want to go for it in the circumstance that you're not going to get punished harder for losing. Sure, if they won, it would have been great. But you're pushing somebody off your side of the map instead of taking something.
I mean, I just felt like if they could take the fight at least under their tower, but of course with the Aegis there, potentially going to be a big problem. And we do have a really good pickup of the gem from Hanny just to be able to secure some of these lanes and vision. Because, Aoi and also Fogged on the Tiny Wisp will be wanting to move around and get the kills where they can. But the tier 2 tower top is not going to see his best days as he gets 4 shot down. And once again, they're going to, it looks like Dignitas are going to want to use this Aegis, are going to want to, walk in and push this tower. And even if they don't take this tower now, the chip damage, and I call it chip, the huge damage that you
Yeah.
put onto it is going to be enough. So Fnatic are going to have to start defending, and this is where the game gets serious for them.
They don't have Glyph. The Glyph is still halfway on cooldown, so if they want to turn around and just keep hitting the racks, they're more than willing to do that. They still have Overcharge up in the Wisp. The Light Striker is going to be there on Aoi. They're trying to focus him down as hard as they can. There's Telekinesis and the Chaos Bolt. Macropyre and Ice Path are going to be there on Era. Not forced to pop the BKB yet. Nice 3-man vacuum, though. Era still doesn't pop the BKB. It looks like Aoi is going to be dying for the first time here in a second. He's got 4 stacks of Napalm. I think it might have been a better option to just focus the racks, as no one on the side of Fnatic is currently dead yet. But there's quite a few of them low. No Tail going to be taking some damage from the dual breath. Hex coming out of Trixie onto Way2. Way2 could be dying here, but yeah, they do manage to turn around and kill the racks instead. So they ultimately decide for the better choice. No BKB popped just yet from Aoi. He's got the 10-second, but Fnatic, they want to try to make him pay for this. I just don't think they're going to be fast enough.
And actually, that was a really good defense from Fnatic, keeping everybody up. Obviously, you if Aoi wasn't, pushed towards the tier 4s and the well and stuff, they would have cleanly taken the racks. And they really, the person that they felt like they had to avoid in those fights was Universe. They had to be spread out. Universe playing the Darkseer. If they took the fight on Dignitas' terms, they would have got destroyed by that Darkseer. So they just had to back off and do what damage they could, but of course it cost them a rack. So 1 rack's down. Fnatic still played nice in that situation. Dignitas just playing fantastically in terms of taking their advantage and using it wisely. Of course it cost them an Aegis, but this does mean that Fnatic, I wouldn't say had breathing room, but are still in the game.
It's not the end of the world to lose 1 racks, especially when you have a Prophet, because he can do split pushing and make sure at least 1 lane is always off of your side of the map. And Dignitas do pull pretty far ahead, but if Fnatic are able to play like they were 10-15 minutes ago when they were finding picks all over the place, they can easily make their way back into the game. CK especially is one of those heroes that can snowball very, very quickly, and he's doing pretty well for himself. I mean, not amazing, but he's got level 3 Phantasm, which is pretty much all you need.
Yeah.
Once you get those illusions up, your damage output on any hero is going to be insane.
Yeah, and there isn't a huge amount of gold, current gold available across the team of Dignitas. So if they do get picked off, this could be dangerous, and we are going to have a fight mid.
Yeah, Hex onto the gyrocopter. Aoi pops a BKB, not really able to hit anything. Throws a Wisp in. There's a nice vacuum, though. And Hani and Cinderin both going to fall. No Tail going to be the next, and they just call the GG, man. They are like, you know what? That is a hard-hitting, tiny wielding a tree, and that's going to be that.
Yeah, no room. Dignitas, why give him room? Why give him room to get pickoffs?
Yeah.
Take your 5 men, walk mid. It doesn't really matter how the fight opens up as long as you're all together.
Yeah.
And with that BKB, Aoi's just able to secure it with Snaking's kind of AoE presence as well as Universe. They were going to be overwhelming. So nicely done by Dignitas.
I gotta say, at the early stage of the game, I thought to myself, Fnatic probably had the better lanes. I mean, you had a dual lane mid that was clearly stronger than a Gyrocopter Jakiro, because your damage output is higher, so you can get the kills faster. Plus, you had
they did
Trixie.
get kind of unlucky though, like Fnatic
Yeah.
in that situation. The amount of times that Snaking almost dropped, I think it was twice.
Yeah.
I say it like the amount of time, like it's going to be, I can't count them, but it's just twice. But that's quite hard to count. You have to start at 1.
Well, unfortunately for Fnatic, they only had 1 shot. They pretty much had to win 2 games, and they lost the first game to Dignitas, so that's pretty much the end of the series.
Yes, yeah,
So-
it is. Yeah, and also that was a EU server as well. So
Yeah.
we were looking for potentially the best out of Fnatic there in terms of their play. But it had a standard. Maybe that does affect them a little bit. But of course, in terms of their key players, I find like Notel and Era. If you look at the different ends of the spectrum in terms of how they play, they still had their full lineup in. But yeah. It was nice warding. Like Cinderin probably looked a little bit bad in situations, but it really was. There's a
That
ward
one
here,
lane
dude.
ward bottom, man, he died twice because of that ward.
But he was the
Same
guy
time.
who got picked off mid as well. That fight where Fnatic weren't really didn't respond well enough, I would say. They picked off 1 kill where they potentially should have traded and got 2.
Yeah.
Cinderin was the man to drop, unfortunately, at the beginning. But I don't think they were expecting Wisp with a bottle and to back up Snaking, who was actually looking really low at the time, and then all of a sudden he comes back in the fight and they destroy. So congratulations to Dignitas. Well done.
Very well done indeed. And of course, once again, we are joined by none other than Bruno, Statman, and Scriff. Dignitas, take it.
What do you think, Squiff?
I'm interested in how the groups look now when they're finished.
Oh,
and
we're
it's
talking about the
3 race.
match. Screw
Yeah,
no,
you can't just jump ahead, man.
I got a feeling that NTH are first, Dignitas are second, and Fnatic are
Third. Yep.
There you go.
That's
What?
what?
You're jumping the gun. Everyone's
Yeah.
just like, you're up here, I need you down here.
You got it.
Yeah, okay, but the other one was not right. Was it? Like the
No, the
previous
other one was correct because it was 2-1s in that way.
2-1, 2-1,
Wait, but
2-1.
Fnatic did not end up like Dignitas ended up second.
They're not in order there. That's just the score.
Oh,
Okay,
in
but
order.
that's not. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's not the order. It's
The order is NTH come
Dignita-
out first based
Yes.
off maps, and then
Dignitas.
Dignitas come out second, and Fnatic come
Third.
out third. Yeah,
There you go. Yep. So that's the
and
result
then
for the
Mouse
group.
Sports
0-3.
get the
It's really
Thanks for
surprising. I
Participating
mean,
award.
for Mouseport, they have been doing decently in other tournaments. The same with Virtus Pro. I think that was the biggest surprise of this tournament. Winners of the defense, finals in the Red Mix Dota 2 Russian League, something, and 0-3 here. But yeah, this is how it looks like right now. We're moving into the round of 6, where we will see Empire versus Dignitas, duel versus CIS versus US.
You?
And the other duel, very interesting, Fnatic versus Cupid Red Pandas. They played against each other for the ISO Cup recently. Fnatic won that game. And finally, we have the winner of those both matches will fight against Team Liquid and No Tide Hunter, respectively.
Ah.
Definitely, all of these really interesting matches. Team Liquid and No Tide Hunter, by the way, have secured $1,000 just by being the semifinals.
Winner of Empire Dignitas as well as Fnatic Red Pandas is gonna get
also
that as well.
get
Yeah.
that as well, and the losers get
Yeah.
nothing.
So if you make the semi-finals, yeah, you guarantee 1,000 minimum, and then you move on from there. I think you go up to 1,500 and then 2,500. We tried to make the prize pool as spread as possible across the top 4, so
Yeah.
everyone at least gets something for participation. But yeah, no, interesting matches. Empire, Dignitas. What do you make of that match, Andy?
I gotta favor Empire. I mean, Dignitas definitely showed today that they can play extremely well, and even against a team like Fnatic, where their early game is usually what they're known for. Like Fnatic usually just get an advantage really quick, and then just are really good at fighting. And it showed that they were still good at fighting, but they just got too far behind and fell. So, in that sense, I feel like Empire are kind of like Fnatic, but maybe a little bit better. Fnatic are definitely one of the better European teams at fighting, but Empire is pretty much the same. And I feel like Dignitas is actually kind of weak to that. I just feel like today they pretty much brought their A game. So for that matchup, I'm thinking Empire probably 2-1.
Yeah. And Fnatic versus Cupid Red Pandas, I mean, got to say, it's Fnatic are the favourites
Yeah.
going into this one,
For sure.
track record. But, you know, Cupid Red Pandas, I want them to win so I can ring up Sam Matthews and be like, fuck your organisation.
Just go right for the jugular, man.
Well,
Just
no,
every
because
time.
it'd be funny for me because I used to work for Fnatic a long time ago with Sam, and so it's a little rivalry there, you know. It's like my team versus his team. We're just two grown kids, not even men, playing Risk with people's lives, making them play Dota for our amusement.
Who's winning so far?
This would be I guess Sam actually. Yeah, he cheated. He had a higher financial start to his Risk career. That'll be a good matchup as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that, and I guess Fnatic are going to be quite busy in terms of playing. I know the Cupid Red Pandas actually. Wagger's gone for 5 days.
Yes.
So I'm guessing that the playoffs, in terms of the round of 6, with the 2 games that you just saw, and then we've got the semi-finals, and then the finals are going to be roughly around what dates, Mike?
We're looking at the 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Looking at the 11th, 12th, and 13th.
That's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah. And we've spoke to the teams about when they can play and
Well,
stuff,
I mean, we've
obviously.
been waiting because we don't
Yeah.
know who's going where.
Okay,
but
so we're gonna
we'll be
start
on that
organising
next
that
days.
now.
Hopefully on the good show we'll be able to announce the full finals broadcast schedule
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
Sweet.
on
Excellent.
Wednesday.
Brilliant.
I'm looking forward to it, actually. I think we're going to have like a really stacked
Are they best
next
of
couple of
threes?
games.
The round of 6 is
Yes.
Yes.
Best of 3s, best of 5 finals.
best of 7.
That's so many games,
Best of
man.
9.
Nobody wants to play a
9.
best of 7 in one sitting. You know, Ice Frog wanted to do BO7 for TI2.
Yeah.
And he's like, let's do a BS7. I'm like, no.
Yeah, it would have devalued
too many
the
games.
hype.
Yeah.
But best of 9.
That would be something different.
It's
I
all
hope he
about
brought
the
sleeping bags for the
numbers.
teams.
It's all about having to win an odd number of games.
Yeah. So Bruno,
Yes.
do you want to recap anything from that game that you saw?
Well, I mean, I talked about something that drew my attention in that game, which was Aui's Tiny.
Hmm?
I mean, of all the heroes that you can let free farm, if you let a Tiny free farm, especially with a Wisp in the game, also because the Wisp was also getting like not as
Pretty
much
much,
farm, but
yeah.
free levels. He was on top of everything. He had about 140 CS by 15 minutes, which drew my attention again, and I checked like, well, who's the, like, is this normal for a Tiny? And no, it was way above what you should expect. That's why he had an Acceptor by 12 minutes
Yeah.
and a Daedalus like by less than 20. Chrysalis was like 15 minutes or so by that team fight next to the Sentinel jungle. The thing is, it's really, really good if you can rush a Battle Fury on a Tiny. an Aghanim of Tiny, because it's pretty much the same concept as a Battle Fury.
Yeah.
It accelerates your farm. It's even better than a Battle Fury in most senses
Yeah.
for a Tiny. So he went for Treads as well, when normally Tinies decide to go for Facewood just to get their extra range. If you go for Facewood drums, he says, no, I'm getting such a good farm, I'm going to invest in this Acceptor, and I'm going to get some more farm out of this Acceptor. And suddenly, Treads, Acceptor, Daedalus, BKB was really, really too strong to actually fight against him. And the fact that, as James said several times, Sneaking didn't die during this early game. I mean, they were going on him and going on him that mid lane. He should have died by any 9 out of 10 games. He dies 2 or 3 times against that lane.
It was quite funny actually, because there was like 3 1-second stuns,
Yes,
and it was like, if they would have gotten a 2-second stun,
he would have died.
would have been dead.
But yeah, I
That is
mean,
3
you
1-second
can't
stuns.
blame
Yeah, I
your
know,
loss
but
in a random
That's
number
CK
generator.
for you.
But yeah, that's CK. I mean, you pick that hero.
RNG.
Sometimes it happens, sometimes it
Yep.
doesn't, and this time it didn't actually bode well for Fnatic, which is unfortunate. They'll have to play the round of 6
Yeah.
against the Keeper Red Pandas. Yeah, that will be next week because, yeah, that's
Is it next week already?
no, yeah, it's not this week. It's next week.
Oh, yeah, it's Monday today.
Today's Monday.
He is correct.
It's not the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but it's next week's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So yeah, that will be like, we're going to take a break from Dreamhack Invitational for a while. But again, we have the good show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nope.
No,
on
it's
Wednesday.
on Wednesday.
Blizzard
On that
announcement,
one,
man.
It's on Wednesday, right? Because it's the day of the announcement of StarCraft and Blizzard
Blizzard.
and GOM TV and yeah.
Apollo's new job.
Mike is
Apollo,
appalled
yeah.
right now at you.
He
But anyways.
is fuming.
Unbelievable.
So what's
so
happening
yeah.
tomorrow, guys? Script, James?
It's going to be full of steam.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, might as well. Me and you playing video games, hanging out.
Sweet.
Normal day at the studio, playing games.
Shut up.
It's gonna be fun.
Time to search for
Same.
some good games, Griff.
Do you want to do full of steam one time?
Sure, why not?
Yeah?
Yeah, why not?
What game do you wanna do?
I don't know. Any game doesn't
Well,
matter.
you don't spoil it now, anyways. So
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be able to say no matter what. But James is buying me games. I'll play them.
that's pretty decent.
That's what I
Good
said.
deal.
That's what I said. Pretty nice.
That's what Singh said to me one time. He was like, buy me Bioshock and I'll play it and stream it. And then he's like, people should give me money just to play video games. I'm like, people do kind of give me money to play video games. You're a Dota pro, you fucking idiot. He's like, oh yeah. Idiot. He's actually streaming now, I believe. You can
Mhm.
hear
Yeah.
him from all the way down here.
He's like a savant. He's like really good at Dota, but like other things, he doesn't. It's just not there.
I don't know. He's actually really good at games I found, but when I watch him play the Dark
Console
Souls,
Yeah, Dark
I was
Souls.
like,
He
dude,
was-
this
yeah.
kid, like seriously.
You can't even parry, which is
Do you even parry, Bruno?
do even parry.
All right. So anyway, as we get off topic, Mike, if we can bring up the brackets just once more, and we'll tell people what's going to be coming up and how we're going to be moving forward. So the 2 round of 6 games are going to be best of 3. Empire versus Dignitas, then Fnatic versus Cupid Red Pandas. These are most likely going to be on the same day, since we've got 3 days of broadcast. So you're definitely going to want to tune in to see who advances. The winner of those matches will actually be awarded a minimum of $1,000 for entering the tournament, the Dreamhack Invitational tournament. The loser, unfortunately, will go home. But we'll, a valiant effort, we'd like to think. Maybe they get some Twitter followers, which are worth millions. And then, of course, the 2 semi-finals would, of course, be best of 3s. They're most likely going to be on the same day as well, so you're going to want to make sure you tune into that. And then the grand finals will be on its own day, and it will be a best of 5, and the winner will take home $2,500. So that is, everything up to date in terms of what's going to be happening next. As Bruno mentioned, it is next week, not this week, but the week after, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll obviously be organising now with the teams when they can play, making sure we can get all the times down nicely, and then we'll communicate to all the streamer people and the websites, so you guys are informed. If you want to know what's happening in terms of us telling you directly, you can go on to Reddit /r/The Good Studio. And that's it really for all the group stages. So unless you guys want to say anything.
I think we're good.
Oh yeah, by the way, we still don't know about the instant replays, right? We still don't know whether we're gonna get them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing was, it was like we wanted to do a high level of production, so we bought in some polls, and then we got the new overlay system so we could make everything nice and try to make a minimum work. And we could have done instant replays, but at the same time, I would, because I don't have the piece of equipment here, because it costs a lot of money. I go to somebody and they say, hey, yeah. And every time I do that, I feel bad. And then, so I didn't want to abuse somebody for instant replays. So maybe we'll do it for the finals. Like, we know how to work all the equipment to make it happen, but it's like 50,000 euro worth of equipment.
Yep. It's a lot
We're
of
a
money.
very small studio, so once we get 50,000 subscribers, we're fucking instant replay everything.
All the time.
Yeah.
Well,
Every
instant
single
replay or
kill.
instant replays.
Well, I mean, even if we don't have instant replays, which hopefully we will have it, we don't know.
Yeah, but we can
We'll
do,
still have our surprise.
we
like,
can do cooler stuff as well. Like,
Yeah. You know that there's some cool stuff incoming as well,
yeah.
which I'm expecting this week, which will be around here.
Oh, yeah. More
So
asses.
around here.
It actually will
Yeah.
be there. Cool shit's going to happen around where, Bruno?
Around here.
When the camera's off. With
Yeah.
Bruno.
Like there?
Yeah, right. This area, give or
Okay.
take.
But we had 2 observers as well. We could do pips.
Yeah, I wanted to do PIP as well.
Yeah. But,
I want to do everything, man.
yeah. But
What
we
if
have to
one
try-
observer missed the kill and then the other observer was looking at the fight?
No. You specifically have one observer follow
Just a hero or just
the main kind of team fights and stuff, and then he still goes to the other stuff. But if you have like a large team fight and a small team fight, then one observer watches the large team fight, and then the other observer always watches what's the smaller one, like the one-on-one, and then you can have picture-picture, so people at home can see both fights at the same time. 2 observers. We got 1 observer. It's 1 more observer than anyone else has got. Look at Scriff's face. He's the only Dota 2 observer out there.
You got to step it up. You're not setting the bar so high right now. I'm just saying.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I just got the glare. I'm sorry.
All right.
That's
All right then, guys. So thank you for watching. Subscribe if you enjoy what we do. No, wait, that's wrong. Subscribe if you want to support the studio. Follow if you enjoy what we do. And then just basically thanks for watching the group stages. We'll be back tomorrow with shows like Full of Steam, and then continuation with our talk shows. The Good Show on Wednesday now. Otherwise, just stay tuned, and we'll get you into the round of 6, round of 4, and grand finals next week. So hope you enjoyed it thus far.